Hi there YouTubers, how are we doing? I hope you're doing really well. This is going to be a start of a new series. It's like a trial run to see how it goes. It's going to be a beginner series for those that are brand new to air rifling and asking a lot of questions, and just some of the basic questions which sometimes is really difficult to actually find the answers to. So this has come from a request on one of my videos of somebody saying, can you just do some of the basics like zeroing, types of rifles, what is a PCP, scopes, how do you mount them, all these stuff like this. You know, we see all these wonderful videos on all this kit, but unless you actually are into the sports, you're not 100% sure what it all means. And then, you know, even I'm guilty of it as well, with the likes of this digital scope and night scope on here. It's great to look at, but you know, if you don't understand the basics of air rifling, then it can be a little bit difficult. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this little video together. We're going to probably have 10 or so of them covering all sorts of different topics, last about 10 to 15 minutes each, and hopefully some of the more experienced viewers, subscribers to the channel, will actually answer any questions that you want to put down below. So really with these, make sure that you read the description down below on the YouTube video, and there will be a lot of information there. So what we're going to do is we're going to crack on really with this one, and we'll see how it goes, and hopefully if everyone likes it, we'll continue to do them. So we'll start this one right at the beginning. Why do you want to shoot? Why do you want an air rifle? And really, if you are looking at this video, then there's a good chance that you're interested in air rifling and you really, you know, I want one. Well, you've got to be asking, why do you want one? If you want one because of you being doing about paintballing and BB gunning, and you want to go and shoot some songbirds in your garden, or you want to act cool and look hard, then I'm sorry to say, but you should hit that little cross up the top corner and go away, because this is not for you. And to be honest, we don't want you in our sport if that's all you want to do and you want to make a bad name and be a prat, because at the end of the day, these things here are not toys. Quite simple. That pointy bit will hurt and it will kill if it is pointed and fired in the wrong direction, and that includes yourself. This rifle here will quite happily kill a rabbit stone dead at 50 yards quite easily. So it is not a toy. So if you're one of these ones that just wants to mess around with these, then go away, we don't want you. That said, if you're still watching the video, then you're serious about air rifles and you want to enjoy a really fun, fulfilling, exciting hobby where you can get to meet lots of friends and have a real good time. So there's really two reasons to have an air rifle, two major ones, and we're going to keep this really simple and really basic. First reason will be target shooting, or what people would generally term as plinking. And that is basically target shooting at a range, at a club, or in your own backyard on land that you own. And it's called plinking because the noise that the pellet makes when it hits a metal target, it goes plink, and that's why it's called plinking. And the other major reason is for vermin control or hunting. And a lot of people make the mistake that they're going to get an air rifle and they're going to go out and they're going to go and shoot vermin. It's not as simple as that. There's a lot of rules and regulations that are in place, and of course that all depends on the country you're in. But before we go any deeper into any of that, why do you want an air rifle? Make sure that you understand why you want one. What are you going to use it for? Is it going to be target shooting? Is it going to be hunting? Or is it going to be, like I do, a mixture of the two? So you decided that you do want an air rifle, and as usual, the biggest problem is finding information. So what I seriously recommend you do, if you're watching YouTube and you're watching this right now, then you've got a computer, and the computer nowadays, the internet, Google is your friend, as they say. I really suggest you start joining some air rifle or shooting forums. I've joined loads of them, and that's where I learn a lot of information. You can join on there, you can ask questions, you can read the posts of other people, and you'll start to gain some knowledge. And of course you can ask questions on there as well. Facebook groups, closed Facebook groups, are also very good. I'm a member of about 6 or 7, and I think in total something like 20,000 people on there. So another good place to request to join on there. And again, I'll leave links to forums and to the Facebook groups down below that I use, and I suggest that you request to join. And lots of valuable information we learn there. But there's one thing I will say, is that the air rifling community ranges from very early ages all the way up to people in their 80s, 90s and beyond, and a varied amounts of skill levels and professions in there. So please, please, please be respectful. It's not a kiddies game. This isn't BB or anything like that. This is serious stuff with serious people doing it. Either professional gamekeepers, pest control, or professional target shooters, or people like you and me that just enjoy the sport. So be respectful, ask questions. There are no stupid questions out there. Now, people, 99% will quite happily help you out and ask and answer any questions you've got. I would also suggest that you track down your local gun shop, and those guys can be a valuable source of information. They can obviously talk you through the rifles that they've got in stock, maybe even let you have a go of them, but of course remember that at the end of the day they're after your money. You know, most of them are great, some of them aren't, but most of them are great. But just remember that they're after your money, and ideally they do want you to walk out the shop with a couple of £100 worth of rifle. So gun shops, yes, they can be great, but I would suggest that gun shops would be better once you actually have an understanding of actually what it is that you're after and why you want it. And certainly one of the top recommendations is join a local group. An airgunning group, a club. Many of these players, many of them around the countries where you live in. In the UK there's plenty, and some of them have indoor ranges, outdoor ranges, and you'll have lots and lots of people there who are experienced with air rifles, who will let you shoot, maybe even borrow a rifle for the shooting on that range for that day. That way you don't have the expense of going out and buying an air rifle and suddenly realising, where am I going to shoot it, what am I going to do with it, how am I going to keep it, I don't know anything about it and I've just spent £500 or £500 on it. So join a club. It has loads of people in there that are willing to sit down and help you, let you try, let you play, and of course, more importantly, teach you the safety aspects of the rifles. Because at the end of the day, as I said before, these are not toys. They can and do kill in the wrong hands. So definitely go and join a club. Right. There is another thing that you do have to be very aware of, is depending on which country you're in, these weapons have restrictions. And I'm not going to try and go through all of the restrictions for all of the countries. I can't do that. I can't possibly do that. But I will talk about a couple in the UK that you do need to be aware of. Air rifles come under two classifications. You have sub 12 foot-pound, and then you have higher than 12 foot-pound, which is classed as FAC. And FAC stands for Firearms Certificate. So let me explain that. 12 foot-pound. This relates to the muzzle velocity and the energy of the pellet coming out of the end of the barrel when you pull the trigger. And this is a combination of the speed of the pellet and the weight of the pellet, which gives you the energy coming out. And 12 foot-pound is a measure of that. Now, the way that is measured is using a special device that you put over the top of the barrel. It measures the speed of the pellet coming out. You tell it how heavy the pellet is, and it can work out the muzzle velocity. So in the UK, you can own an air rifle that is under 12 foot-pound of energy without a licence. I.e., as long as you're over 18 in the UK, you can wander into a gun shop, you can buy a sub 12 foot-pound air rifle, and you can take it home and you can shoot it, as long as you shoot it following the rest of the restrictions we'll talk about in a minute. If you want over 12 foot-pound, i.e. something that's got more power and therefore more killing potential and longer ranges, then you need what's called a firearms certificate, which we're not going to go even anywhere near today. Needless to say, it requires police interviews, etc., proper reasons why you want this, and this is the strict gun control rules in the UK at work. Now, in Scotland, things have changed a bit. In Scotland, now you do require a licence even for a sub 12 foot-pound rifle. So that's happened in the last 6 months, and it's causing no end of grief. And I'm sure if you want to ask questions about Scotland, put them down below. I'm sure people will comment and give you their opinions on that. But that's just in the UK. I know, for example, in the Netherlands, there are no power restrictions, so you can pretty much buy any air rifle you want. In America, again, I think the air rifle is classified completely differently to standard firearm stuff, and therefore you can have pretty much any muzzle velocity that you want on there, but it may vary from states to states. And across different countries, I have no idea. So the first thing you guys need to do is if you're going to get an air rifle and you want an air rifle, is you need to read up on the local laws, your country rules on owning such a firearm. At the end of the day, these are firearms. So make sure you do that. And like I said, the best places to find out will be on the Airgun Forums, on Facebook groups, your gun shops, and of course your gun clubs if you join the gun clubs as well. They will tell you your restrictions on there. But also another thing to think of is how are you going to transport this rifle around and where are you going to shoot it? So for example, in the UK, if I walked around with this on the street, walking to my gun club, I will have the SWAT team, I will have the firearms units all over me, and I will end up in jail. Because if I am carrying around a weapon in the open and we don't have the rules that allow you to do that. So make sure that you always have a gun case for it if you're transporting it to and from your vehicle, to the shop, to the gun club, and basically use common sense and keep them out of sight. It also comes down to where are you going to shoot this. So the rules in the UK, and again this is UK only, are quite strict. You cannot wander out into public spaces, for example, into the wooded areas, and take your air rifle and shoot anything you want. You cannot do that. There's restrictions on where you can use these rifles. There is restrictions on what you can shoot if you're into the hunting. So let's keep it quite simple. Where can I shoot, for example, this rifle for target shooting? I'm allowed to shoot it at gun clubs that I've joined, and they're authorised to allow you to do that because they have a range, full safety, etc. I can also shoot this in my own backyard. But there are restrictions there as well. The restrictions are that the pellet is not allowed to leave my boundaries of my land. Now, this thing will shoot 300 to 400 metres. If I fired it at 20 degrees, it will probably the pellet will go 300 to 400 metres. My backyard's only 40, 50 metres long. So I need to make sure that where I'm shooting at, my range area has adequate backstop, be it 4 to 5 inches of solid wood or metal that catches the pellets once they pass through the targets and stops any ricochets from happening. And this will prevent the pellet from leaving my land. If my pellet leaves my land, I can be reported for that. In worst case scenarios, your pellet could ricochet out of your garden and hit a kid in the next door garden. And trust me, you will have the police all over you for that. So that's the major restriction in the UK. Regarding this. So if you live in a flat and you want an air rifle, then the only place that you can target shoot is at a club, because you cannot go to public land and do this. But to very briefly touch on hunting. If you want to hunt, again, this depends on your country, so you have to look at the rules for your country, but you can only hunt on land you have permission to hunt on. So for example, if I want to go hunting, I need to go and seek out a local farmer who has a pest problem. He then will give me permission, if I can convince him, written permission. I show him that I've got the correct kit, etc. We sign an agreement, and I take that with me all the time. So that if Mr. Policeman comes along at 9 o'clock at night and it's dark and he sees me with this rifle on a farmland, I can say to him, I'm allowed to be here. And again, there's only certain things I'm allowed to shoot. And that will be things like pigeons, rats, bunny rabbits, magpies and crows, and there's a list of vermin that are out there that are allowed to be shot. And it is very strict in terms of what it is you're allowed to shoot and where you can shoot. Can I actually shoot pigeons in my back garden with this? Well, technically no, not really, because of it's not really classed as pest control. But again, I will leave links down below for all of the UK based air gunning rules. And what you can and cannot do. Again, it varies from country to country. But you do really seriously need to think about this. I have seen before in the past, people have gone out, they've brought an air rifle, they've taken it home, and then they don't know what to do with it. Or I'll tell you what, let's just play around with it in the backyard, and they've ended up in trouble. Because pellets have left and disappeared into other places, and people have complained to them, or people have seen them wandering around with it. Another thing as well, if you do get any of these and you do go into this sport, as great fun as it is and it's great for kids, keep these out of reach of children. Keep them locked up somewhere safe. Kids will be kids and they'll all play with them, and you're going to end up with an accident, and of course it will be you that's in trouble for it. But by all means introduce children to these, but make sure they're totally supervised. I would say definitely, even for the new air gunner out there, safety, safety, safety always. Start off the way you mean to continue. So, for example, never ever ever, and this is totally unloaded this rifle, but never ever ever put the pointy end and point it at anyone. Not even in fun, whether it's empty or not. If you did that around me or the club that I'm in, you would end up with a flying kick to the head, the rifle taken off you and kicked out of the club. And then you would have to come and get the rifle under different agreements, and basically you're not welcome. So never ever ever point this rifle at there. Never keep a gun loaded. There's absolutely no reason for it, unless you're stalking and hunting and you might want one in the chamber, but never leave it on your shelf, magazines in and loaded. Never do that. If it has a safety catch, make sure the safety catch is on when you're not actually using it, so that then you know that you're safe on the trigger. But start early, learn these things early, and it will lead you into good stead for later on. You may later on go on to shotguns, onto firearms controlled rifles, high velocity onto rimfire or proper cartridges, proper rifling. So you may go on to that stuff, but these safety lessons you learn at the beginning will be very, very important. If you start early, get it right at the beginning, things will be so much easier. And again, if you join a club, they will drill this into you as well. And it's there for your own good and the safety of everybody else. Because remember, please, these are not toys. They do hurt. When it comes out the end and it hits you, it will smart, it will hurt you. So, like I said, this is just the first quick video, just an introduction into air rifling, where you can find some resource information, forums, clubs, gunsmiths, etc. like that. I touch on that there are obviously rules depending on which country you're in and what you need to be thinking about and that lot before you even decide, yes, I do want to go down into this sport. So the next video will probably be on the types of air rifle, the typical types of air rifle, between spring-loaded rifles, pneumatic PCP rifles. We'll talk about which one should you buy, what sort of prices we expecting, etc. like that. And then we'll just build these videos up slowly. The whole idea of these videos is to keep them really basic, really simple, sort of give you some key points, give you some information down below so that you can start clicking and doing some research in. And for those guys out there that are more experienced, then please, please, please comment down below, help answer some of the questions. Let's bring some more guys and girls into this exciting sport. So hopefully you've liked this video. Like I say, this is a trial run. This is the first one in a series. We could end up having plenty short videos like this. If you like it, please let me know. Give us a thumbs up, and those experienced people out there, please share this video as well, and let's try and bring more and more people into this exciting sport. So until next time, we'll catch you later, and happy air gunning.